Explain Timmy's job because it's too hard to type it out. So he's in Fairbanks, Alaska. Then he has to take a urine test. And then while he's waiting for the urine test results, he drives in the jump seat. He doesn't drive, he passengers in the jump seat, and they make one run. And he's been to Prudhoe Bay, Dead Horse. He's done that before. I'm not sure about the path they took, but I'll find out more today. It's called the line haul. That's the verbiage they use, but he was kind of confused by it too because it seemed kind of like off a little bit the way they said it. They were really nice to Tim. He's with a very experienced driver, so that's a positive. Sorry, I had to get my medicine. So, he'll get paid in 2 weeks. It's more like the 15th, but God only knows how much he's going to make. The line haul is, well, the run is, I think, $1,700 to $1,900, depending on what he's carrying. Of course, I think it's more for heavy haul, but I'm not sure if Tim wants to do that right away. And then some of it's $1,450, which they were really honest about, so that's kind of cool. And then let's see. So the owner called. I think his name was Joe Frank or something. He was really honest with him. He was up front. He was really specific, and was like, if you don't like it here, I'll fly you home immediately. Like, no drama. Very high communications, which if you're a regular truck driver, you're not used to that. I mean, used to a dispatch calling you and then you're on your own, So this is more like high communications. Everybody, verbalizes, everybody talks. And the owner said, when you make your first run, I want to hear the road conditions. I want to hear what, if there was any pressure, if there was a problem with the load. I want to hear about that immediately when you get back. Like, that's weird because, as a truck driver, it doesn't, they never really care about, that kind of stuff. So I'm under incredible pressure because I was sick. So Tim didn't make any money. So there's like, everything's behind. Like I said, they hold his payback and then he gets paid every Friday. I don't know if it's direct deposit or he said he'd find out more when he was with that driver, like more about particulars. Like as far as the loads, I don't think that's a tough thing. It's a lot of heavy equipment and stuff like that. So when he's oversized or heavy haul, then I think it runs different like that. And I think they make him go out quite a few times and see how they participate, and then they start giving them bigger loads. Like, here, this is big. This is a big contract. So that could happen too. At first he was weirded out, which scared me because he has really good intuition. But then after he knew as soon as he talked to the owner, it was like, you're leaving. So that was really cool. I mean, so there's this feeling of like kind of happiness because, who communicates that much in a trucking company? I mean, why would the owner, call you and say, hey, this is what's going to happen. We want to know how you feel about it. We want to talk to you daily. We want you to, if you're not happy, not to be here, because when it builds up, then you'll explode, and we don't want that. Which I've heard about that also in Alaskan driving, ice road. So they encouraged him to communicate, which was really weird for Tim. And like he said, it's not just dispatch. It's like the maintenance of the truck, keeping things up. What did you go through? Or is it okay with you? Things like that, which that's weird in truck driving. And so he went up to Prudhoe Bay. He got up to Dead Horse. I could see him on 360 Life, which was really awesome. And I don't think it's as much that he's on the ice road now. I think it's more, because I know he's been to Prudhoe Bay and Dead Horse. It's more like on a bad month, it would be something like $6,000. That's great. On an average, like to make that every month, it's like, thank God, because Tim's always made good money, but at the same time, because he got this truck, it was like, we just went through so much pressure. And I think we're defensive because it's like, we don't have the responsibility of a truck. We don't have repairs. But then he's in a more dangerous situation. But when he ran Canada and Alaska, this is the kind of stuff he did. So in a way, it feels great. And then in another way, I'm scared just because when he's going up there, there's hardly any phone reception. It's just you hit these pockets where there's no cell phone towers and stuff. I guess because he's running in the jump seat, he's not going to call, until he gets back. So we know going there is $1,400 to $1,900. Everybody flies in for the season right now in the spring. So everybody that's done this comes in the spring. They do summer and part of the winter, and then they leave. Like they just leave. They just fly out, go home. They can go home anytime they want to. So say Timmy makes like $6,000 and he's like, okay, we're good. He can fly out and they pay for it. So it's like, oh, thank God. So on the line haul, of course they're going to give him light loads in the beginning because they want him to get used to that pressure, and he's on the washboard, so he's just bouncing, and their heads like hit the top, and that's pretty tough. It's hard on their body. So it's okay money for now. I would hate for Timmy to be out there for $5,000 or $6,000 a month. I mean, but that's consistent. So even we've considered the worst case scenario and the best case. The best case is up to, I think, $225,000. That's a lot of money. But Tim literally, like, it's a 1,000-mile run. So he goes 1,000 miles this way, then he goes 1,000 miles back. So for 2,000 miles, I think it averages something like 55 cents a mile, but it's not his truck, it's not his maintenance. He just has to cope with being out there. So if his battery goes out there, it's not like you call somebody and they come and put a battery in. He has to kind of deal with all that. So I think that's the thing that makes us the most stressed out. And Tim's pretty good about that. He can get a truck started. He can. So the 360 Life, I would encourage everybody to get that app. It's just such a comforting feeling to see the ball moving and going, okay, he's not out there and sitting for long periods of time. So he got there at 3:30 a.m. He left in the morning. So that was a fast run. But Tim's used to doing that. He's used to moving really quick. So the more he runs, the more money he makes. So Timmy said, this is nothing. Like, the 1,000 miles is nothing. It's rough on the truck, it's rough on me, but it's nothing. Like, I do that all the time. So, also freight is weird. So, like, when he arrives there, sometimes trailers are just stuck in the ice and he has to pull it out. There's not necessarily people that load the load. He told me that the freight seemed kind of cool. It was like freight that he was used to. So, we're 2 weeks behind. That's really stressful. I was sick. I'm still sick. That was really stressful. And staying focused right now is really, really hard because I don't know what he's getting into. I don't know where he's going to be every moment of the day. And I understand that when he goes up to Dead Horse, we don't always get to talk. So, and he has to stay really focused so he can't jibber jab. So this morning I got hit with all kinds of stuff at the account. So obviously we can't pay the mortgage. So I have to call them. But I don't know when I can say, like, we'll pay you then, because then I might. So I can't spend any money for like 2 weeks. That's weird. But I think I got enough here to kind of hold me together and keep things going. It's just really leaning out. So I called the HOA and told them that, can't pay you this month, like last month, because I have to pay for that cell phone. I have to make sure. And so I gave him $300, which would have paid the mortgage and left me with $200. But he needs that money because he has to get his food. They don't provide food. So when he's back at the man camp, there's a kitchen, but they don't provide food. I also can ship him cigarettes. I gave him a cigarette maker so I can send him tubes. That might be a really good way to go. So I'm nervous, but not nervous, and I just want to catch everybody up on the Alaskan run and what it was like. And I don't know how many lakes he had to go over, or rivers, or ice. It's starting, where they're shutting the Dalton down and stuff. And I have a feeling when they see how good he is, they're just going to keep him, giving him bigger stuff, So I'm glad that experienced driver was with him. Guys, this is what they're saying. So let's just see if this works out this way. They work for the 6 months, which goes into October, which is not cool for weather. They run for summer, spring, and then that little part of winter. And they go home. They're like buying houses. They've got 2 or 3 cars. These guys are like making big money. So it seems to be fine right now, and I hope it is. And being the thing that I worry, I guess the thing that I worry about the most is I know how he feels about loads. He doesn't like to be late. He's always early. The offload reload is really tough sometimes out there. Tim feels this huge responsibility for loads, and it's scary to me because I feel like if it's kind of weird out there, will he stop? You know, will he feel so committed to the load that he won't judge it right? You know, I guess that's my biggest stress. So I'm going to post this because it's just easier than typing it all out. We won't really know. We won't really know for a couple of weeks. They get paid every Friday. The man camp's not good. It's not like, you know, a hotel. And a lot of guys just don't stay there. But yesterday morning I said, well, how many trucks have left? And he's like, none. And I'm like, oh, shit. And then he said within a couple hours, like every truck moved. So that's a good sign. That means that people got some sleep, they got on the truck, and they went on their run. So it's a huge yard. It's like 5 times bigger than what we're used to. It's huge. And the owner actually got on heavy equipment, was loading trucks. So that's awesome, you know, to have the owner right there. Mechanics are right there. Everything's just right there. Dispatch, there's no female dispatch. It's all male. Male, 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 male. And the dispatch is really, really good about, okay, where are you at? Okay, what are you doing? Okay, you're going down this road. And they stay in contact with them to a certain point. But because of the cell towers, obviously, I don't know how dispatch is going to work. I've always dispatched him, so to me it's weird because I have no controls. So today I'm going to try to, I have to, transplant the garden, deal with a dog that's got diarrhea horribly. I gave him more activated charcoal. It's driving me crazy. But as soon as Tim gets back, I'll probably be able to talk to him. He's probably finding out a lot of information. As soon as he arrived, he got like 10 job offers, of course. And today I can't really focus on YouTube or do any of that stuff. I just got to pull my stuff together and say, okay, what do I need to say to people when I owe them money, and when can I pay everyone? It's not like he's going to get a check and it's like everything's fixed. It's going to be, you know, tight for probably a good month, which I projected. So that's kind of what's going on. And the more I move, the better it just kind of seems. So it's overcast now. I really wish it was a lot hotter. And as far as my illness, we're not going to know until May 6th. And then in July, we'll find out the other part, which, can you imagine waiting 2 months for a doctor's appointment? It's ridiculous. So that's the update. I'm still taking all that medication from my naturopath. If I hadn't, I'd be in big trouble right now. The dynamics of the group changed, but I think we're being proactive. I'm really feeling positive about that. I feel like we're weeding through, you know, maybe possibly what happened. And that's my update for this morning, and I hope to hear from him soon. And I think I'll probably hear from him like maybe tonight, and then I think I'll make another video just so I can kind of, you know, let out all my feelings about it, because it's always on your mind. It's not like regular truck driving. It's like the unknowns. It's the unknowns. And but we didn't have a choice, so I'm just hoping there's a God in here somewhere and we can get through it. So dogs are depressed. I'm not depressed. I'm just kind of funky because he's not here. He's out there. I know he's done these runs before. I hope he finds a buddy to drive with. Like, that would be like primo for me. I mean, because then he'd have a buddy out there. So let us pray. Because experienced drivers kind of tend to run together, you know, like they don't hang out with the newbie. They kind of clump together and say, I want to run with you. I know your speeds. I know what you can do. I know that you're smart, you know, and that you can get these trucks moving. So that's what I'm praying for. Say a prayer for me and Timmy. And I'm glad I bought that buffalo meat, because I would have nothing to eat if I hadn't. And I can't take the risk of eating regular meat. So if it, you know, the sun comes out, I want to get out in the garden and just start getting everything cleaned up and just, you know, get my mind off of it until he calls. that's the update. I'm not as scared. It feels like things are going in a positive direction, and I'm gonna just try not to think about it, overthink it too much. So I got to get this dog from diarrhea and then go from there. And so that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm excited. I love you. I'm only sharing this in you guys' group. I'm not sharing it on regular Facebook. I already slammed them yesterday.